you can put your hands down, Mr. and Ms. Gonzalez. You want to do an opening statement or you just want to go straight into testimony?
Very briefly, just to catch Your Honor up on the status, we are actually a counterclaim petitioner, but Mr. Gonzalez did file his first. He has been served with a counter petition, and there is actually a petition filed in DeKalb that he wasn't yet served with when he filed his action in Fulton. So this was on for a hearing last week. Judge Cooper reset it to today so that Mr. Gonzalez could get counsel. That's all we have before we begin.
And you got a counterclaim here?
Yes, it's a counter petition in Fulton. We will be seeking the order as well as fees and child support to the extent that the court's willing to entertain that.
Okay. Oh, hold on. Ms. Delbrado, can you go to breakout room 2 and see what they need, please? They're calling me back in there. I don't know if they need to be moved around or thanks. All right, Ms. Gonzalez, go ahead and tell me what's going on. You need to start from the most recent event and work backwards and let me know what's happening. If you could be specific, okay? And Mr. Waskin may stop you. And he may ask you some questions, so just hang out until he asks you some question afterwards, okay?
Is that me?
Ms. Gonzalez?
It's Mr. Gonzalez. I represent Ms. Gonzalez.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gonzalez, sorry. You go ahead, Mr. Gonzalez. Then Ms. Gonzalez, Mr. Waskin will be able to ask you some questions. I flip-flopped it. And then Ms. Gonzalez will hear from you, okay? Go ahead, Mr. Gonzalez.
So I just at this point, am I supposed to say what I'm doing here? I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, it's now time for you to present your case.
So I have an attorney. I have Bell in Washington. Quentin Washington is representing me, but because my last date was Friday, I didn't really have the time. They didn't have the time to be here today.
Okay, stand by.
Sure.
I don't understand. Didn't have time to be here today.
It was just short.
Did you pay them money?
I did.
In hand.
I did.
For this case?
Yes.
You paid them to come in this case?
Yeah, yes. They just are not, yes, they are representing me. They were not able to make it today because it was short notice from last Friday to today. But I have retained Bell in Washington. I have Quentin Washington as my attorney. I asked for that was just all they would give me, but I mean, I'm prepared to get today if I have.
Stand by. You have Quentin Washington specifically in this case?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Did you know about that, Mr. Waskin?
I did not. Mr. Gonzalez said he was going to be hiring Daniel Shim last week, but either way, we have not had any communication with attorneys.
Don't see where he has filed any sort of entry. So he took your money, and what did he tell you to say today, Mr. Gonzalez?
He told me that not to worry so much about today because he's representing me also in the divorce. And so
okay, stand by. No. Okay. Did you hire him for today?
I did. I have retained it. He is officially retained. I paid in full.
Okay, stand by.
We're able to get it.
I don't think so. In the contract, it's real specific because there's no way you retained him for today and he didn't show up. I mean, I know.
No, it's not that he didn't show up. They weren't able to be here today because it was short notice. It's not.
So you did not retain him for today.
I did retain him. They just weren't able to make it because today is such short
See,
notice.
Mr. Gonzalez, that's not okay. Let me call Mr. Washington.
Sure.
Because what you're saying doesn't make any kind of sense. Hold on.
Yes.
All right, so he doesn't know anything about representing you in the TPO. He said he's checking with his intake people because Mr. Washington said he hasn't spoken to you, Mr. Gonzalez.
I've had spoken to Mr.
He
Washington as
said
well.
you spoke, he said he spoke to you in early December. He has not spoken to you specifically about representing you in this. He said you
Well-
spoke with intake.
I spoke with intake. I spoke with Jamie, who's one of the attorneys there, and so he said.
Okay, but you just said you spoke with Mr. Washington.
I did via text. I talked to him, and then he put me in touch with the intake, and I talked to the intake. I don't understand why he's saying that he hasn't spoken to me since early December. I talked to him this week, like 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
Okay, Mr. Wasker, do you want to, I mean, we could reset this, Mr. Wasker, I won't keep you here, and he said he just thought he was doing your divorce, and that was it.
Your Honor, this was already reset from Friday for today. My client's paying attorney's fees. We have a hearing unless we're able to resolve this and get an order against the petitioner this week, then we've got a hearing set for Tuesday. So we would oppose another continuance for
So
the
the
petitioner to
hearing
get
you
counsel.
have for, you have your hearing with her, right?
I have a
Tuesday?
hearing where Ms. Gonzalez is the petitioner in DeKalb County. We had trouble getting him served the first time, so it was her refiling, and we have gotten him served since then. In fact, I'm filing a return of service for both. But we would oppose another continuance.
Sure. All right, well, go ahead, Mr. Gonzalez, because he says he just thought it was the divorce, and I told him that Ms. Gonzalez had an attorney, and if he didn't agree to a continuance since he hasn't done an entry, and as far as he was concerned, he represents you doing the divorce, then, you know, we would have to get.
I was just given 3 days, basically for the, the continuous. I'm
Okay,
really- If I have
go
to go,
ahead. Tell me what's going on. Start with the most recent event and work backwards.
most recent event, I guess, is discovering that she's still coming by my house, dropping letters off of my house, dropping off a birthday card, which is after the TPO was filed on her end. But just the harassment in general, it's still like showing up, reaching out to me via email and threatening me via email, constantly getting into my email account. She has access to all of my accounts, my Verizon, my email, just this feeling of her like constantly watching and messing with my
All
personal.
right, Mr. Gonzalez, so here you go. That's not what we do. Ms. Steele, just general harassment. Just general harassment.
No, it's not general harassment.
Okay, but no,
No.
that's not what we do. What we say is, Ms. Gonzalez called me 972 times in January, 382 times in February, and I told her 482 times to stop calling me. We give specifics. We don't just say, general, just coming by and doing this and just, no. You give me specific things that she has done that's made you feel fear for your safety.
She just overtly threatened me. If I didn't comply with the things that she wanted, that she was going to hurt me, that she was going to hurt me. Like I took it as physical and also like using the law as well, attempting to, call the police on me to manipulate me. There's times where I've had to like leave our house, call the police myself. She's threatened to hurt me.
Okay,
Still,
Mr. Gonzalez, one more time. Listen to what I say. You need to tell me specifics. Overtly doesn't mean anything to me.
okay.
If I was taking a TPO against Miss Steele, I'd say, Miss Steele called me on Tuesday and said she would beat me up, specifically. That's specifically what she said to me on Tuesday. That is what I need to hear, not general stuff.
Well, she specifically said she was going to hurt me.
Okay, when?
The last time I spoke to her, which was the first week of November.
All right, keep
Since
going.
then, there hasn't been any like face-to-face communication. It's been just through different means like social media.
Mr.
Again,
Gonzalez, this is your time to prove your case. You have the burden, so you've got to tell me what's going on that's put you in fear for your safety. But I need specifics, dates, and exactly what was done.
showing up, leaving things in my house. The first started with the threat of like threatening me. Then from there, it went with continuing to show up at my house, continuing to email me. It's been 6 weeks now, and it's been that like just continually. I see it in my maps. I see like her accessing my stuff, and then I, see that she showed up at my house and left things on the front porch, and left birthday presents, but then also like sends nasty emails, and then the emails disappear. At this point, like I'm just scared for myself in every regard. I mean, she's just, sorry, it's hard for me to talk about it. It's just, I just want to have no contact. I just want to have peace. I just want to be left alone. I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to live in fear that she's going to physically come after me. And also that she's going to use different like legal means to try and manipulate me and make me afraid into like doing what it is she wants, which I don't even understand what it is, but I just want to be left alone. I don't want to be afraid anymore.
Okay, anything else?
No, Your Honor, I don't have anything else.
All right, Mr. Dwoskin?
Yeah, Mr. Gonzalez, you've engaged in physically violent contact with your wife in the past, right?
No, Your Honor, I've not.
So in 2017, you didn't strangle your wife,
No.
and you weren't convicted in 2018 of aggravated.
2017, she stood up in court and said that, and told the truth that nothing had happened. She stood before the judge and said that on my behalf and argued on my behalf.
Okay. Did you plead guilty to aggravated assault by means of strangulation of your wife?
You know, I was given a deal, I suppose. I guess you could call it that.
Okay, so you were convicted of aggravated assault
She actually
by
stood up-
means likely to cause serious injury against your wife.
She did stand up in court and say that, you know, that
Mr.
didn't.
Gonzalez, please answer his question.
I'm sorry, what was the question then? Can you ask directly, please?
That's why you have to listen to him and don't talk over him. Listen to his question and then answer. First word out of your mouth needs to be yes or no, and then you can give an explanation.
Okay.
In 2018, you were convicted of aggravated assault by means likely to cause serious injury to your wife.
Yes.
And you were convicted of aggravated stalking of your wife.
No.
Okay. You were convicted of false imprisonment of your wife.
No.
You were convicted of cruelty to children in the first degree.
I don't believe so. No, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't feel comfortable actually talking about this right now without my attorney present, to be honest with you. Like, I don't remember those being the charges. I just remember that I was given, you know.
Your Honor, may I share my screen?
Yes.
Please give me one moment here.
Sure.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Gonzalez, I'm going to show you, if you can see on the screen here, this document that says State of Georgia versus Maurice Gonzalez. Do you see that?
I do.
Is that your name?
Maurice Gonzalez?
Yeah.
Yes, that's me. That's Mr. Maurice Gonzalez. Yes.
Okay. That's also your father's name, right?
That is, and my son's as well.
Okay. But this particular document pertains to you, does it not?
My name is Maurice Gonzalez. Yes, that's me.
Okay. So it looks like you were convicted of aggravated stalking, right?
That's what it looks like.
Aggravated assault, strangulation.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. That's what I'm seeing there.
Just
Gotcha.
yes or no, Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
that's all I need.
Yes.
Aggravated battery.
Yes.
False imprisonment.
Yes.
Aggravated assault means likely to cause serious injury.
Yes.
Cruelty to children, the first degree.
Yes.
Cruelty to children, the third degree.
Yes, I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it there.
It says yes.
Okay,
Number
yeah.
7, Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You were sentenced to 5 years on probation for
Yes.
these offenses, right? And the victims in this case were your wife, Amber, and your daughter, Isabel?
Isabella is her name. Yes.
Isabella. Okay. This order also orders you to not violate any laws of Georgia, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you were, your special conditions were to have no contact with Amber Compton. That's her maiden name, right?
No, her maiden name is actually Amber Etheridge. Amber
Okay.
Compton is her married name from her last husband, her previous child as well.
Okay. You were subject to random drug screens.
Yes.
Okay. Anger management, family violence?
Yes, I did. Random drug screens and yes.
Okay. And you were represented by counsel at this time, right?
I was.
Okay. And that probation is still ongoing, correct?
No, it's finished.
Okay, meaning that your rights have been restored or that
rights
it
have
is
been
on
restored, meaning
non-reporting
that-
status?
Meaning that it is over. My rights have been restored.
Okay, do you have any documentation about that?
I do.
Okay.
How did it finish? It's not quite. How did it finish? It says 5 years. Has it been 5 years?
I was told it was finished. That's it. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, 5 years probation is 5 years probation.
I spoke to them and they told me that I was done with everything. I mean, I have the paperwork to show that it's finished.
Done with what?
The probation is over. I don't have anyone to report to or to come in or
No,
anything.
it went to non-reporting maybe, but you're still on probation.
My understanding is that I'm not.
I don't know
Your Honor,
that.
I can move on from here.
I'm sure it went to non-reporting. They don't just terminate your probation because there was nothing for you to do except for serve 5 years on probation.
Okay, the next thing from, want to show you an image here. Reduce the size here. Mr. Gonzalez, this is the marks left when you strangled Amber, correct? In 2018?
No, Your Honor. I mean, no, sir. No, Mr. DeWaskin is not.
Okay, so these photos weren't provided to the state with respect to that conviction.
2018, no, they were not. Not in 2018. I hadn't been near her during that time.
No, but for your conviction from from that case, that's what took place, giving rise to those charges, right?
I don't know about those pictures. I haven't seen those pictures, and I don't feel comfortable discussing that without my attorney present.
Okay.
Okay. Good.
Let's go to the next one.
Mr. Gonzalez, I want to let you know right now that it sounds like you're invoking your Fifth Amendment right, which you don't really have in this kind of case. But if you do invoke your Fifth Amendment right, decide not to answer a question, then I can take a negative inference from that. So you saying you don't know or you're not comfortable, I can take that inference that was pictures that was presented to the state. So just letting you know. I'm not saying you don't have to answer. I'm saying if you invoke the Fifth Amendment, I can take a negative inference.
Well, just that I don't recall seeing those photos, not during the trial or ever at any point.
Okay.
At no point do I recall seeing those pictures. I'm not saying that they didn't submit them somehow or something. I have not personally seen them. I don't know. I don't recognize that. No, not at all. I didn't strangle it. That's not my handprint. I mean, I'm not saying that's not a picture she submitted. I'm just saying that
You
was
should probably stop talking, Mr. Gonzalez. You're just
Okay.
kind of backing yourself into a
Sure.
corner.
Okay. Tell you what, let's move on. So after this conviction, you reconciled at some point with your wife, right?
Yes, she reached out to me and we reconciled.
Okay. And you in fact got married,
Yes, we did.
had another child. You have a 2-year-old.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. But in the past, the court has granted a temporary protective order for your wife against you, right?
Yes, and she told me she dropped it, that she went to the court and had it dropped. I mean, that's the second time it's happened. She put one before and she reached out to me and then had it, went and signed to have it dropped and told them, that she was not afraid of me and that it wasn't true. And then that was dropped and we reconciled then, and then we did again this other time. Yes, that is correct, sir.
Okay. And you and your wife have had arguments more recently about your drug usage.
No, we have not. We have about her infidelity. That's the only arguments we've been having. Yes, sir.
Okay. And
I'm 3
you
years.
argued about infidelity.
Yes, about infidelity. Yes, I'm 3 years sober.
Okay.
There's been no arguments about drug use whatsoever over 3 years. October was 3 years.
Okay. So within the past 3 years, you haven't used marijuana.
No, but Miss Compton.
And you haven't used methamphetamine.
No, I have not.
Okay. In June 22, June of last year, you moved out of the house that you lived with your wife at, right?
In June 22, I was forced by Miss Compton under the threat of using the police to get me in trouble. I was forced to leave. Yes, I did leave then. And I have plenty of text messages and emails to corroborate that as well. And those can be submitted as well.
Okay, so your father helped you gather your belongings and you moved to Seattle for 36 days, right?
My father helped me gather my belongings when I came back from Seattle because Miss Compton, actually it's Miss Gonzalez right now. Sorry, I keep calling her Miss Compton. So my father helped me gather my belongings when I came back from Seattle because I came back. She asked me to come back. Yeah, she promised she was gonna, we were gonna do counseling, therapy, that we were gonna work things out, and that didn't happen. And she got angry with me and forced me to leave. And so I left. I mean, forced me in the sense that my name was on the lease. It was my place as well. Forced me in the sense that she threatened to use the police to get me in trouble, to make me leave my home where my name was on the lease and everything.
Okay.
Just leave. I was forced to leave.
When you were forced to, you say forced to leave, but before you left, your 7-year-old daughter, she had also asked you to leave when you were in the middle of one of these fights with your wife, right?
No, never.
That didn't happen either. When you returned, the locks on the doors had been changed, right?
Not that I'm aware of. They have not. I've never had to even use a lock to get in the door, so I don't know. I've only been invited in and her asking me to come there, so I don't know that.
Okay. There was a ring camera outside that property, right?
Yes, there's been a ring camera, yes.
And you dismantled it and took it down when you came back, right?
No.
Okay. Give me one moment, Your Honor.
Mhm.
The only thing that's been done is the batteries changed of it, or
No question out there, sir. No question for you.
sure.
Okay, Your Honor, this one, not a long video, about 18 seconds, but Mr. Gonzalez, I'm going to ask you to take a look at this. Okay, so that's just you changing the batteries, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
Or maybe even moving to a different position to be in front of the door. I mean, I've done that before as well. We both have. We both moved the ring camera multiple times. I mean, that was my house too.
Okay, but the door wasn't locked and you didn't need to break in, right?
I didn't break in. No, the door was unlocked.
Okay. Let's go to. Okay, so you didn't do this damage to the door of that house.
No, I did not.
Okay.
Um, The last time I was there, I took pictures of everything before I left.
There's not a question pending, Mr. Gonzalez.
Okay, and you didn't do this damage
I did
to
not.
the house.
No,
You didn't smash your way in with a brick.
no.
Okay.
That's my house too. There's no reason for me to break into that house. And again, that door's never been locked. I've only ever been there invited.
So who did that, Mr. Gonzalez?
I think maybe Amber did it herself to try and set me up. I didn't do that. I'm smarter than that. I know that if I were to ever do anything like that, the kind of trouble that would be and the kind of hell that would come back on me, no, I did not do that. I even called the police that day. The last time I was there, I called the police to come out.
All I want to know is who did it, Mr. Gonzalez. You really, certainly. If Mr. Washington was here, he would say, "Zzz," which means quit talking. Answer the question. That's it.
Okay.
Answer the question. All I said was who did it.
Okay, so Mr. Gonzalez, this break-in isn't you either, right?
No.
Okay. Okay, and you didn't take a drill that was in there belonging to someone else either, right?
No.
Okay,
Can I clarify that actually?
Go ahead,
Sure.
you can offer an explanation.
May I? I'm sorry. Did you say yes, I
You
could?
can offer an explanation, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so there was, I have a drill that was left there, my tools. She took all my tools. When I grabbed the wrong drill and took it with me, she told me, she made me aware that it belonged to the nanny. I immediately gave it back to the nanny. Same day I brought it back and gave it to her. So no, I didn't take one like steal it. I accidentally took the wrong one. I was trying to get mine and it belonged to the nanny and I gave it back.
okay, but just to clarify, it wasn't taken after you broke into the house because you didn't break into the house.
I didn't break into the house and it was taken when I was there with Amber, invited by her, there at the house. Yes, that's correct.
Gotcha. In October 22, you physically assaulted Amber again, causing an injury to her face, right?
No,
Okay. Okay, you didn't cause this injury?
no, I did not.
Okay.
As of November, I was invited there by her. There was none of that.
Okay, but sometime in November, you learned that your wife was seeking a temporary protective order against you.
Yeah, toward the end of November, I believe. Yeah, she mentioned it. She was reaching out and emailing me and texting my father, and she kept mentioning it. And I would ask her, "Did you actually do that? I need to know because I need to know what's going on." And she never gave a straight answer. She just sort of went around threatening
Okay.
it. But yeah, and she still came by my house after that and dropped off birthday presents and a card. And yeah, still reached out a few times. Yes.
You then went and filed this petition to preemptively seek a TPO against her.
No, I did not. I didn't know. I mean, it wasn't done in that regard. No, I didn't know until after that. It was when I was there that they made me aware that she had filed something. I didn't know prior to that. I asked her
Okay.
multiple times. Yeah.
You're alleging that you're scared of your wife, that she poses a threat of physical violence to you.
I am afraid of her, yes, of physical violence, as well as all the other emotional.
Gotcha. You're scared of emotional harm that she's going to cause you.
There already has been emotional harm caused. I'm scared of physical violence and further emotional harm.
Okay. You have extensive training in martial arts, right?
Yes, I do.
You spent 5 years in Brazil and competed in martial arts, right?
Yes, I competed in martial arts. Yes.
Okay. Yet you're physically scared of your wife.
Yes, Your Honor. Martial arts don't teach you how to deal with weapons and guns and things like that.
Also, in 2018, you and your wife entered into a consent parenting plan, right?
There was a discussion about it. We started the paperwork, and I'm not exactly sure how far we got into that. So I don't know. I don't feel comfortable really fully discussing it until I'm able with my attorney to look at those things.
Well,
I don't know.
Let's look at this consent parenting plan just for a moment here.
Because we reconciled and lived together. So she was like, well, let's just do it this way. So I don't know if if it was actually finalized.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at a document here, if you can see it as well, that says that you're the petitioner, that she's the respondent. It's an order regarding legitimation. Do you see that?
I do.
Signed by Judge Edwards in Fulton?
That looks like,
Okay.
looks like it, yeah.
Is that did you have an attorney?
Yes.
Okay. Was your attorney Thad Woody?
Yes.
Okay. So it looks like it's signed by counsel, right? Am I missing that?
Yes. I mean, that looks like it to me.
Okay. Isabella, that's your daughter's name.
Isabella is my daughter's name. Yes.
These your initials?
Yes.
Okay. And I passed it, but that's your signature, right?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. So, Your petition states that your wife threatened you with a knife, strangled you, and engaged in a long history of family violence towards you.
Yes, I have video of it as well.
Okay.
Multiple.
You're also stating that she has a history of drug abuse, which exacerbates her abusive behavior towards you.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you've called the police about these threats and these attacks and everything against your wife.
Yes, I have.
Okay. She's never been prosecuted for anything though, right?
That I know of? No. I mean, no.
Okay.
Oh, on my end, you're asking if from something related to me? Has she been prosecuted? Has she gone to jail for it? Or
Has she been prosecuted for any offense where you're listed as the victim?
no, not yet. No, she's not been prosecuted.
Okay, not yet. Your Honor, I have no other questions at the moment.
Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez, anything else you want to say?
Yes, I would like to say that just that, I feel it's unfair, like the way I'm being questioned. I didn't have the appropriate amount of time to prepare, to have an attorney. So this is something that's happened before where she uses like pictures like that and evidence that that isn't real. To try and use the law, it's like instead of physical violence, which it also exists, but in addition to that, there's the threat of using the police and using different legal means just to try and coerce and to manipulate me into doing exactly what she wants when she wants. And I have plenty of evidence to show, text messages, emails to show that she has outright like said, like, it's going to be one of these ways that I'm going to be hurt.
So you have seen the pictures before?
I have not seen those pictures. I have seen pictures of other things actually that she has shown that weren't true. I've never seen that picture with the handprint and the picture of the broken window. I've never seen that. I've never seen pictures of the broken dresser or what. I've never seen any of that. I don't know anything about it. I haven't seen it. So no.
And then for whatever reason, you went back to her, although you're still on probation where it says don't have any contact with her or the child. So you're having contact with her and the child, right?
I did, yes. She reached out to me and told me that there was no more TPO, that she had canceled.
No. This was your probation conditions. So this whole time you've been violating your probation.
My understanding was that it was the
No, you're understanding.
violating it.
Did your probation officer know that you were seeing her still?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Did you tell them, Mr. or Miss Probation Officer, I've moved back in with my wife or ex-wife?
No.
Okay, then they didn't know. You didn't tell them. I mean, they're not going to follow you around. What else do you want to tell me?
I mean, that's it. I just want to be left alone. That's it. I want to be left in peace to do what I was doing before all this began. This was all an attempt at changing the narrative of what happened. So it turned to like creating this story that I'm abusive, that I'm cheating on her. She has Facebook groups devoted to just like smearing my name and saying those things. And I just want to be left alone. I don't want trouble. I've never been there without being invited, even though it was my own home. Like I never went back there without her asking me to come back. I mean, I even have emails and text messages I can show that where she's telling me what an amazing father I am and how there's things I do as a father that she could never do. And that, and that's the truth. I mean, I have her own words as recently as 2 months ago, telling me what an amazing dad I am. I mean, telling me over and over all the time because I've devoted everything I have to it. I mean, I take it very serious. I just want this cycle to stop.
Mr. Dwoskin, anything else?
Your Honor, I just have one or two more
Sure.
very quick questions. Mr. Gonzalez, you understand, you're the petitioner in this petition. You filed it. You understand that, right?
I do understand that.
Okay. And knowing what you know about how manipulative Miss Gonzalez is with the legal system, you didn't hire counsel before seeking this PTO?
Not before. I did after I got the TPO. I don't really know the process. I didn't know it required an attorney. So I've gotten an attorney since then. Once I realized at the last date, I saw that I felt like I needed one. So I reached out and retained Bell in Washington.
But you couldn't get anyone for today. All the attorneys out there.
With Bell in Washington, I could not get an attorney today.
Okay, I have no other questions for Mr. Gonzalez, Your Honor.
All right, you don't have any witnesses, Mr. Gonzalez?
I don't currently know.
All right, so you rest your case.
Sure.
All right. Mr. Dwoskin?
Your Honor, I'll call Amber Gonzalez.
All right, go ahead. Ms. Gonzalez, you can take yourself off mute.
Okay, Ms. Gonzalez, you are married to Mr. Gonzalez, right?
Yes,
How long you been married?
since 2019.
How long you been together?
Off and on about 8 years.
Okay. Does anyone live with you?
Yes, our son and our daughter.
Okay. What are their ages?
Isabella's 7 and my son 2.
Have you ever had any violent physical interactions with Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Okay. Briefly, because we've kind of covered it, but when was the first time?
The first time was when I was pregnant with my daughter and he shoved me and took my phone and ran. The second time was when he was under the influence and relapsed. And in 2017, he strangled me and, said it wasn't working and that he had to go get a knife. And me and my daughter had to run out and, we were covered in blood from where he had hit me before he strangled me. It was just a really awful night. And that was in 2017.
Okay, there is one other photo I'm gonna show you here. Do you recognize what's in this photo?
Yes.
Is this what is this photo show?
That's from 2017 where he attacked me while I was holding my daughter and punched me in the face. And that's when I got picked up and they took pictures afterwards.
When you say they, who was they?
Well, I ran down the street after being able to escape and a car pulled around the corner and I jumped in and they took me to their house and we called the police.
Okay. Is this a fair and accurate picture of the injuries that you sustained that night?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So at some point you reconciled. What brought that about?
Maurice has an addiction. He's been to rehab. He went to rehab in 2018 and in 2019 for drug abuse. And I did go to court and I agreed for him to be around his kids as long as he seeked help. And he did stay sober until he relapsed. But I did say that, we would get married if he was able to consistently stay sober. And that's why we got married and had another child.
What substances would he abuse?
In the past, it was Xanax and alcohol, and currently it is methamphetamines.
Okay. Has he used any other drugs in your presence?
Marijuana, Xanax, Valium.
Okay. Did you ever observe him use methamphetamine?
Yes, I did.
When?
There was a time in October where he was smoking it out of his marijuana pipe and he told me that it was fuzz from his pocket. And then I had another instance where I looked in his bag and I found a crystallized substance and had it tested and it was confirmed for methamphetamines. And later he was smoking. And I told him, I was like, that kind of smells really funny. It doesn't smell like marijuana. Because I was trying to see if he would tell me. And he was like, no, it's just the resin marijuana. It's not methamphetamines. And I had already known because I had already tested it and was positive that's what it was.
Was there ever any physical confrontation with your daughter?
Yes, November 18th.
Okay. Tell me what happened that night.
So I had come home from work. He had recently gotten into a car accident, and I told him that he could stay with me for the week. I took him to the doctor and got him a cell phone, and he said that he had suffered a concussion and he needed me to watch after him. I tried to take him back to the place that he was living, and he told me that he really was concerned about the concussion he had and really wanted me to watch him just because he was concerned about losing his memory. And so I agreed to have him over to see the kids as long as he didn't bring drugs into the home, and he could hang out. And when he came in, at work, he was high, and I caught him smoking. And that's when I was asking him questions about the smell, and he denied it. I have learned previously that you don't confront someone when they're high because it can get dangerous. And there's been a previous time where I tried to call the police and they didn't show up for 45 minutes.
So let me stop you. Did he make any threats to you that night?
He did. He came upstairs and he was like at like 1 a.m. saying that I had committed infidelity and how much he hated me and I was ugly, and was pointing his finger in my face, and it caused the kids to wake up out of bed. During that time, I was trying to gather my things because I was like, if you can't stop, then I need to leave because this is getting unsafe. And I started to gather my stuff, and he was like getting angry and coming towards me. And my daughter was in the room, and she went and put herself between me and him and told him to stop. And he pushed her out of the way. And he was like, you need to find a new daddy. I'm not your daddy anymore. Look what you've done to her. And she ran off crying and was on the bed and was like, I want you to be my daddy. And he said, nope, you need to find a new daddy. I'm not going to be your daddy anymore. And at that point, I knew that it would escalate and get worse just because of what's previously happened in 2017. So I tried to put the kids to bed and calm everything down, and was like, all right, I can't leave because I don't want him to do anything else because he's already touched her. And so I woke up the next morning and was like trying to be calm and take him to work so that we could go back and gather things and get out of there, because at this point it went beyond just touching me. He touched my daughter, and that's where I draw the line.
What action did you take?
I went to an Airbnb and then I filed a TPO.
Okay, so you left. You left with the kids?
Yeah, so we packed up our things and left immediately.
Okay, now this we're talking about November?
November 18th.
Okay. At some point back in June, Mr. Gonzalez stopped living with you and the kids, right?
Correct. He moved away to Seattle for 36 days. He came back home. He said he wanted to go to counseling. I reached out to a counselor. We set up a family counseling session that Maurice did not show up to. I have an email proof for it that he did not come. And then he just kept saying, like, you caused infidelity, you did this, when really all along he was actually the one that was committing infidelity. And you know, he got upset and was like, that day that he called his dad to pack his things and leave, he had hidden my phone and said that I couldn't find my phone, and called his dad and tried to set up something about saying that Amber's going crazy. And he pulled out his.
Let me stop you. Let me stop you. So he removed his belongings when he left, right?
Yes, his dad and him packed his stuff up, and they got everything out of the house and left.
Did you change the locks?
I later changed the locks, yes. And I asked the landlord before I changed the locks.
Okay. And did he end up coming back to that property?
He did.
What happened when he came back?
He twice took the security cameras down, and then he smashed the window with a brick, causing it to damage my daughter's furniture in her bedroom. At that point, I knew that even putting security cameras up and changing the locks wasn't going to keep him from coming in. So that's why I moved actually and relocated, and he doesn't know where we live.
Okay. Those pictures that I showed, are those fair and accurate pictures of the break-in?
Yes.
Was anything taken from there?
There was like damaged property and stuff taken.
Okay. Did you have to pay for the repair to the window?
I did.
Okay, and this may very well be my last exhibit, but Ms. Gonzalez, do you see this document?
Yes,
What is this document?
that's where I paid to have the window repaired.
Okay, is this a fair and accurate depiction of the invoice that you paid for the repairs?
Yes,
Okay. Also, you had made a police report of that incident as well, right?
correct.
Okay, did the landlord take any action that you know about with respect to Mr. Gonzalez?
Yeah, she sent him a text message saying that if you enter the property again, that we will call the police. And she also notified him of the security footage that was up.
Okay. Have you ever strangled Mr. Gonzalez?
No,
Do you yourself have a history of drug abuse?
no,
Mr. Gonzalez, I believe in his petition claims that you've interfered with his ability to see the children. Have you made any arrangements for him to see the children when he was not living in the house?
yes, actually. I've had 2 times in August and September, actually, where I've reached out and he no-showed and didn't show up for the planned time. I have email showing where I reached out and then him writing back about the reason why he couldn't show up.
Okay. Do you have fear that Mr. Gonzalez may commit acts of violence against you or the children?
Yes, absolutely.
And is that why you filed your own protective order? For your own
Yes.
protective order? Okay. Only other question I've got is have you noticed any unusual activity with respect to email, online logins, etc.?
Yes, actually, I have been locked out of my Apple ID since November 18th, right after we went to the Airbnb. And every time I've tried to log on, it pops up his phone number where he has changed it to where only he can have access to my Apple ID. And then since then, I have plenty of emails showing where he has downloaded apps, he has accessed information. He's actually even messaged me through my own Apple ID and has messaged people through my social media. And I actually called Apple like 3 times and tried to file a new password reset, and he's canceled each time. And I've had to go to the Verizon store to try and get with Apple to get this Apple ID erased.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Mr. Gonzalez, do you have any questions for her?
I do. I'd like to ask her about the times she's been into my both my Chrome account, my
So,
Gmail.
sir, if you have a question, ask her a question in the form of a question.
Amber, have you accessed my Chrome account, my Google account? And
One thing at a time.
okay,
Have you
so,
accessed his Chrome account?
No, I have not.
Access his Google account?
No, I have not.
Next question.
did you change the passwords on my Instagram account to suck a?
Yep. Hey, that's a question. Did you change the password on his Instagram account?
No,
Next question.
Would you say that you were physically violent with me the night of the Lumineers concert that we took our daughter, where I have videos
We
of
don't
you?
need a lot of details. Were you violent with him the night of the Lumineers concert?
he had told me about how he slept with me and another woman in the same.
Yes or no? Yes or no, and then an explanation.
I slapped him, yes, after he told me he slept with me and a girl named Bree on the same day.
All right, next question.
Did you, in addition to slapping me, chase me up down the street and hit me multiple times and choke me?
No, I did not hit you or choke you. I did chase you down the street.
And did you invite me via email to come back to the house under promises of therapy and telling the truth and working things out?
I did a couple statements that you did not show up to.
No, I was asking specifically, did you invite me back to our
Yeah.
home?
Yes, when you came back, we were trying to work on things and go to couples therapy, and you didn't show up to the couples therapy, and you were actually already seeing someone else.
So did you or did you not?
I did.
She answered it. I mean, she answered it. You just don't like her answer.
And,
Yes.
also
You
with
didn't show up to couples therapy.
with regard to the couples therapy, I was never given notice of it even happening until
Yeah, ask a question. Ask a question.
okay. Did you also invite me in September, October, and November?
I did until you touched your daughter.
So yes, you did invite me back multiple times.
To try and work things out until you were caught smoking meth and you touched your daughter.
Okay. So the meth, can you tell me about the meth and the Adderall that I found in your bag when
That
you
is-
were when you asked me
you-
to grab something from there?
You did try and set up a situation to drug me by stealing my medication and I found it. But no, you have never found any type of drugs on me. I mean, I can get tested, I can get hair follicle tested. I am not a drug user.
Okay, so you've never used marijuana? You haven't used marijuana in the past 30 days?
No, I have not.
The past 2 months, have you used marijuana?
I've had an edible, yes.
Have you used marijuana consistently in the past 3 months, consistently, regularly, edibles and smoking? No. Would you be prepared to take a hair follicle test?
Yes.
Okay. And so all the times you invited me back, that you asked me to come back, that you pleaded with me to come back, were you afraid then of me? And did you tell me specifically, I am not
One
afraid?
question at a time.
Yes, go ahead, sorry.
Were you afraid of it?
When you invited me back those times, all those times. So you invited me back, but you were
Hold
afraid
on,
of,
Mr. Gonzalez. Let her answer the question.
I'm sorry, Your
When you
Honor.
invited him back, were you afraid of it?
Previously, no. When I found the meth, yes. When people are underneath the influence, when Maurice is sober, Maurice is a great dad and a great person. When Maurice is underneath the influence of drugs, especially methamphetamines, he becomes very evil and mean and very abusive. And yes, I am afraid of him when he is on drugs.
Did you not say that I was on drugs as of last June, yet you invited me continually over multiple times, and you're claiming that I started.
Wait, I don't, sir, your question,
Yes,
just a question.
Are abusing your own medications and stealing other people's medications, but I did not find the meth on you until October.
Next question.
did you not just say that I tried to, that you found methamphetamines and that I tried to drug you somehow in June?
That was not in Seattle in June.
Sorry, in August.
In August,
I came
there's
back.
instance where my medication went missing and I had empty capsules. And then when you were moving out and you took all of your things, I found a capsule near where your stuff was, and I opened it up and there was a crystallized substance in it from where Maurice had tried to drug me, so that because he has tried to do this many times with a neighbor too. He will set up instances to where he can try and get you to act manic and he will film it. So I am under the impression that he tried to drug my medication so that he could film me.
Okay, so
Next
now,
question.
so you're saying that you know that I drugged you or attempted to drug you, and yet you still invited me over all those times after that incident?
Yes.
So thinking that I drugged you, you were still inviting me back over, thinking that I drugged you and that you
She
were.
has answered that question, Mr. Gonzalez. I mean, she said yes.
Okay. That's it. That's just what I wanted to know.
All right, stand by. I gotta call this calendar. Stand by. All right, if you're here for the 11 o'clock calendar, turn your camera on and stay on mute. If you're here for the 11, anything else, Mr. Gonzalez or Miss Gonzalez?
Yes, can I ask something else? Is that
You have a
possible?
question?
I did have one more question for Miss Etheridge or Gonzalez, if that's possible.
Okay, ask the question.
So on the 24th, when you brought me a birthday card and birthday presents.
No, just a question, not a whole bunch
Were you
of.
afraid of, that was after the amphetamine incident. Were you afraid of me then? And why were you not afraid to drop it off at my house?
Whoa, compound question.
Okay, sorry.
In May, when you brought him a card, were you afraid of him?
Now in November 24th.
November, were you afraid of him?
After November 24th, but dated November 24th, sorry.
Dear God, in November, were you afraid of him when you brought him a card?
So before I filed a TPO, I attempted
Yes
for
or
him.
no? And then an explanation.
Yes.
Okay, there you go. Next,
Thank
Mr. Gonzalez.
Also, did you have Bella write a birthday card for me as well and drop that off?
We were trying to get you to go to rehab.
Yes or no? Did you have your daughter write a birthday card?
I did.
Okay, yes. Next
Okay,
question.
in the card, was she telling me what a great daddy I was, and were you also?
Mr. Gonzalez.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't have anything else. I just wanted to know why she would drop that off after being, if she was afraid of it.
Mr. Gonzalez, no commentary. Anything else, Mr. Gonzalez?
That's it. Thank you, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
All right, any follow-up, Mr. Dwoskin?
Your Honor, very, very quickly. Ms. Gonzalez, this photograph, when was this photograph taken?
That photograph was taken on October 24th.
And what does this photograph show?
Busted lip.
How did you, is this you?
Yes, it is.
How'd you bust your lip?
That was when Maurice came in unannounced, but while our kids were in school, and he asked me, or I had asked him about the substance that was in his pipe earlier. And then he, in retaliation, started talking about infidelity and stuff, and things got physical, and he did that and attacked me.
Okay, did he initiate?
Yes,
Okay, and then this, what's in this photograph?
that is what I found in his pipe.
Okay, so when you were testifying before, that's what you're referring to?
Yes,
Okay, and that pipe belongs to him?
yes, it does.
No further questions, Your Honor.
And Ms. Gonzalez, that's allegedly what he said was pocket fuzz, or what did he say?
Correct.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Gonzalez?
Yeah, so after finding those things, you were afraid, or you were not afraid? I'm sorry, because you came by after that. So I'm confused. Were you afraid after that? Was that the reason you said that?
Hold on, Ms. Gonzalez, were you afraid after you found the pipe?
Yeah, I was afraid.
Okay, next
You're
question. Anything else, Mr. Gonzalez?
So you were afraid, but you still dropped off those things at my house.
We got that. She still dropped it off. And there was a card from your daughter. We got that.
That's it.
Take notes.
Thank you.
I got it. I promise. I'm writing down a lot of notes.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Gonzalez?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Gonzalez, Mr. Dwoskin.
Nothing further as evidence, Your Honor.
All right, closing. Mr. Gonzalez, closing. What are you asking the court for?
I'm asking that I just be granted relief from the manipulation, the scare tactics, the fear that I feel for my life, for my safety, that I just be given a chance to live my life peacefully.
All right, Mr. Dwoskin.
Your Honor, we're going to ask that the petition filed by Mr. Gonzalez be dismissed. There's no threat to Mr. Gonzalez from Mrs. Gonzalez. We are going to ask that the court grant our counter petition and grant an order against Mr. Gonzalez. We ask the court for reimbursement of the $348.55 that Ms. Gonzalez had to pay for the window, as well as attorney's fees at $300 an hour. And so at the moment, I think we're at $2,200, as well as some provision for child support. I know that Mr. Gonzalez said he hired a divorce attorney. I know that Mrs. Gonzalez is consulting with a divorce attorney, and that'll be underway. But for the moment, she has these children and is the only financial provider for them.
Do you have a worksheet, or do you know what the worksheet's going to show up to be?
Your Honor, I can show the worksheet from the parenting plan.
That was just one child, right?
It was one child, and I'll show Your Honor, but I will say that there was this was
So tell me this, what's Ms. Gonzalez, what do you pay for rent or mortgage or what have you, where you and the child live?
I paid $23.50.
And what was the other child support worksheet, Mr. Waskin? What was the number it came up to with one?
it is going down to the
Line 13.
final sheet. I apologize, Your Honor. I do not do much family law.
I
It
think
looks
it's
like,
line 13.
no, 13. There we go.
Boy, that's the one thing I know.
It says 257. Final monthly child support amount rounded to a whole number. Is that what we're referring to?
Right.
It was $257 for Mr. Gonzalez, 406 for Mrs.
That was
Gonzalez.
back in 2018.
Correct.
Ms. Gonzalez, how much do you make gross a month?
How much and what?
Gross. What is your gross monthly income?
Um, about 7,000.
Okay. What is yours, Mr. Gonzalez?
About 3,000.
What do you do that you only make 3,000?
I cut hair. I moved, when Amber forced me to leave and move to a different
I
salon.
didn't, I'm just curious what, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ms. Gonzalez, is there daycare for the children?
Yes, I pay about $400 for Bella and aftercare a month, and I pay $21.50 for my son a month. Oh, I'm sorry, $13.50 for my son.
Calculator out here. It's like. Miss Free took my calculator, Miss Delbrado.
I'll search for one, Judge.
No, I got,
You found it?
no, I got this little, I got this janky one. Let me try this janky one here.
Okay.
They got 150 a month. For one
13.
child,
$13.50.
1350, and
Uh-huh.
400 for the other child.
Yes,
I mean, okay. And that is monthly, right?
correct.
All right, so, Mr. Dworsky, first we'll split the childcare in half, so that's gonna be $875 a month.
Okay.
And then it was. So, I'm trying to think, I'm trying to do it in my head, I don't have my login for my worksheet. We'll make his child support $400 a month and plus the $875, and when they go to the divorce, somebody can do the actual worksheet. So $400 a month, and then $875 is his portion of childcare. I just split it in half. Ms. Delbrado, Mr. Roskin, I think maybe Ms. Delbrado is going to ask if you'll do the work, do the order. She can send it to you in Word.
Okay, if she'll provide it, I'll try and work one up. Like I said, I
Okay.
don't practice family law, but
Well, I mean, you just put those numbers, because I mean, in the order, it's self-explanatory, but just to do the TPO order, because I'm granting hers, Mr. Gonzalez, I'm denying yours. Here's where you'll get peace, Mr. Gonzalez, leave her alone, stay away from her. What kind of visits do you want with the children, Mr. Gloskin?
Your Honor, she would be willing to make third-party arrangements.
Okay, third party, and what, is it every other weekend? What is he gonna get? I mean, I know you have a 30-day that you can coming up on.
Yes, Your Honor, we can make that work.
All right, third party, and communicate through our family wizard.
Okay.
Who will the third party be? Maybe Mrs. Gonzalez.
I'd be okay with it being his parents.
Okay, so why don't we leave it till then that you can reach out to his parents, Ms. Gonzalez, arrange something. Is it typically a weekend that you give him or a day? What is it?
In the parenting plan, I requested that he pass a drug screening within 24 hours as well when he
Stand
gets.
by. So that parenting plan is for one child. Is that
Okay,
what you want for both children? Still, you want that parenting plan?
yes, please.
So, Mr. Voski, if you just want to attach that kind of as an exhibit and say they'll follow this parenting plan.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm sure Mr. Washington and whoever Ms. Gonzalez has. And the child support along with the daycare, that's due on the 15th of each month, since it's the 11th. We'll go ahead and make it due on the 15th of each month. And how do you want to get it, Ms. Gonzalez? Zelle, Zoom, whatever all the other stuff is? How do you want to get the money?
Zelle is okay with me.
Okay. via Zelle, 15th of each and every month, and how about on January the 30th, you could pay the $348.55 in fees for the repair of the window and attorney's fees, $2,200. All right, starting February the 1st, you can pay Mr. Blaskin, you put on there, he can make $500 monthly payments. Obviously, it's $2,200, so one will be what, 4. So he can make those until it's paid off in full, and you can pay that directly to Mr. Dwoskin's firm, Mr. Gonzalez. And the Family Violence Intervention Program. But you could, he can start that in 60 days. We'll, you just send it to us. We'll put the stuff on there about the FVIP class, Mr. Dwoskin. He can start that in 60 days, Ms. Delbrado.
I'm sorry, Judge.
Did he leave? I guess he didn't want to hear it. All right. Guess Mr.
Did you say-
Gonzalez wasn't happy.
Did you say FBIT in 60 days, Judge?
Yeah, he can start the FVIP in 60 days. I'm assuming he wasn't happy. We have his email address, Ms. Delbrado.
No, Judge.
We don't have Mr. Gonzalez. He's the petitioner.
Oh, yes, sorry.
All right, we have his email address. Well, you just have to send him a copy of the order since he was not happy with me and he decided to leave.
Mhm.
Still gonna owe that money. And Mr. Kowalski, if you just put in there how you $500 a month, break down your payments and how to pay them to your firm or what have you, we'll do that. And we'll put the stuff in there as far as FVIP starting, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor, and I also want to thank you, Ms. Steele. Ms. Steele's offered to just assist me with this order. I guess I look as terrified as I feel, so.
She may be used to, we're real short-handed right now. All right, thank you so much. And like I said, once we get it and sign it, we'll just email it to Mr. Gonzalez since he decided to leave the meeting before finishing hearing what I had to say.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dworsky, if you want to put your email in the chat for Ms. Delbrado, she can send it to you just to make sure we have it.
Will do. I think she's
All
got it.
right, thank you. Thank you,
I
Ms.
got it. Thank
Gonzalez. Happy New Year to both of you. Stay healthy and safe. All right, Ms. Steele and
Thank you, Your Honor.